What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is my latest catch-up video. This time around it is for the month of June of 2023. In case you guys are new to the channel, this is where I talk about all the 2023 films that I saw in the month of June from the beginning to the end of the month. This time around I saw 8 films. These 8 films, again, I'll be talking about them very briefly. If you guys want my full in-depth thoughts on these films, you guys can check me out on Letterboxd. I'll put the link down below. Letterboxd is a great app. If you guys don't have it, would highly recommend you guys get it because it is just great at bringing together casual moviegoers, movie buffs, movie critics, just everyone together. It's a great community. But again, I'll be talking about these movies very briefly and giving you guys my rating. And yeah, no spoilers, of course. So guys, enough exposition. Let's get started. So kicking things off to start the month, I saw Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse, which truthfully I wasn't excited for. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the first one, Into the Spider-Verse. I thought that was a huge surprise. I own it on 4K and I did rewatch it in preparation for Across the Spider-Verse. And I gotta say, I am so glad that I went in with such low expectations because not only did I love it the first time that I saw Across the Spider-Verse, because yes, I did watch it twice, I liked it so much that when I saw it a second time, I actually loved it even more. This is a film that I think personally might be better than the first. And that is something that I didn't think was going to be possible. But here we are. It is truly an astonishing feat for animation. I mean, the animation styles, all the different kinds that they have combined, it's incredible. The voice acting, the storytelling. I also know some people that aren't a big fan of the cliffhanger ending, but for me, what's nice about this film is that even if the third one doesn't stick the landing, I think the second one does stand on its own. And I really do also like how Gwen and Miles Morales have like a balance to their characters and that both are pretty much the lead characters, which I really liked. I love the score. There's just everything about this film works. Everything. 2 hours and 20 minutes of perfection. I loved this film. And yeah, I'm going to say it right now, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I personally will be giving a... Next up, we have Transformers, Rise of the Beasts. This movie, what can I say? I did not like it. I found it to be, yeah, just not good. Don't get me wrong, it's better than the 4th and 5th entry of the Michael Bay ones, but I liked it a little bit better than Bumblebee, but not really saying much. The third act is pretty much your typical CGI action porn fest. Prior to that, the first act, I did like it. Like, I thought the world building was actually decent, but I will say that by the time we reached the second act, the opening scene you kind of realize was pointless because what the opening scene does is spew out a bunch of exposition. You're like, okay, I guess I can tolerate that. But then the second act, they say the same exposition, just tweak it a little bit differently. And this time the characters are in on it, and they because you know they're the ones being told like what's going on. And I'm like, so why would you have the audience members be ahead of the characters? It just makes no sense. So the opening scene really just kind of grinded my gears in retrospect. And then just overall, this feels a lot like a product more so than an actual movie. And I guess some people might argue that, yeah, that's the point. But for me, I just really didn't like Rise of the Beast. I really didn't. And I'm hoping that it doesn't do too well at the box office because I just, man, so these Transformer movies, they're becoming interchangeable. They really are. Yeah, I really didn't like this one. And I can understand why some people might, but for me, I was disappointed. That's why I personally be giving Transformers, Rise of the Beasts a... And next up we have Reality, which is the film starring Sydney Sweeney based on a true story, and it's supposed to be really, really accurate. I gotta say, this is on HBO, or what's now known as Max, and right off the bat, I would say watch it. It's a solid film. It's really eye-opening. But at the same time, it's really suspenseful in the first half, and I think that Sydney Sweeney does such a great job. And I will say that the artistic merits of having it be where we see the real-life transcript and, in some cases, the real-life individual reality, I feel like that works in some cases in this film, and then in other cases not so much. But I will say that either way, I do respect it, and I understand why they were going for it, because they want to really hit home to the audience that, hey, this is a film that's like very historically accurate, so you know we want to make that clear. So I get that, but it is something I do kind of feel a bit conflicted about. But overall, it's still a solid film. It's worth watching, no doubt about it. That's why Reality, I personally will be giving a... And next up, we have Extraction 2, a movie that I really wasn't looking forward to because I didn't like the first Extraction. That came out at the beginning of the pandemic, and I wasn't vibing with it. I know a lot of people that really dig it, but I really wasn't. I found it to be very, very, very middle of the road. And I gotta say, Extraction 2 started out pretty strong. Like, the first 10, 15 minutes kind of reminded me of, like, Rocky 4, ironically. And then we have a 21-minute action scene. I timed it. And the 21 minutes are made to look like one long take. And I gotta say, that 21-minute, action sequence is just phenomenal. Truly incredible stuff. Unfortunately, what continues after that is just your typical action schlock. Every single action cliche you can think of, this movie has. It's just a shame because sandwiched in between this, action schlock is a 21-minute action scene that is genuinely speaking great. So I will say this. I'm going to say Extraction 2 is worth your time, but I will say that after the 21-minute action scene, you can clock out because, in my opinion, that is the climax of the film, or what should have been the climax, because what continues after that is just, it's very, very dull. I'm just the messenger. It's my personal opinion, but I can see why some people might think this film as a whole, but for me, you hear me out. It's a shame. But overall, I personally will be giving Extraction 2 a... And next up, we have The Flash, which is the latest entry in the DCEU. I believe this will be the second to last entry in this franchise, with the final one being Aquaman Lost Kingdom, from what I understand. But The Flash was a movie I went into with an open mind, but at the same time, I was pretty skeptical because I had seen the trailer and I was kind of like, ooh, I don't know about this. Plus, the director I'm not the biggest fan of. Like, I liked it for what it was. In Chapter 2, I wasn't a big fan of it. Mama, I kind of thought fell apart. Especially in the second half. So again, I just wasn't too sure going into The Flash. And I gotta say, I was engaged by this movie, but at the same time, I didn't like it, like, at all. One of the big things for me personally is that with superhero movies, there are consequences. And I felt like this movie tried to sidestep consequences, and Flash constantly was sidestepping it to the point where it's just kind of like, really? Like, he can just do whatever, and it just doesn't really matter. At the same time, it also just kind of really goes against the themes and messages of this movie. And I also think that the time traveling is quite messy. In addition to that, I also think the visual effects are really, really bad. Surprisingly bad. I mean, this is like, what, a $200 million budget movie? But I will say I did like the acting. I did like the chemistry between the actors. And I think that the actress who played Supergirl in particular was a standout. So overall, that might be worth a watch, for that alone. But at the same time, again, there's just so many things that I just wasn't a fan of. And I really wasn't a fan in particular. There's one moment where there is the potential of a consequence. And instead, the very next scene, they're like, you know what? No, we're going to throw that consequence out the window. We're going to make it happy and everything. It's like, really? But, screw it. For me, The Flash, I found to be disappointing. And that's why I'll personally be giving it a... And next up, we have The Blackening. Funny story about this. I actually saw this last week, 40 minutes of it, because what happened was the projector gave out. And, of course, the projector, they weren't able to get back up at the theater. So I had to wait the following week, which was yesterday, to finally watch the full thing. And I gotta say, The Blackening, I was entertained by. I was engaged. I really liked the chemistry between the friend group. They really were effortless, honestly. And I thought that the acting was quite good. I can see all of these actors getting bigger roles because of this movie. Really, really good performances. And I thought that the mystery itself was definitely entertaining. Don't get me wrong, there are some kind of plot twists that you can see a mile away. But at the same time, again, I just found myself for 97 minutes engaged by everything that was happening. I do kind of wish that the filmmaking was a bit, matching the quality of the acting and the chemistry. But still, I was engaged by this movie. I found it to be entertaining, and I would definitely say it's worth your time. It's just pretty by the numbers in some categories. But again, it is a celebration of my culture, and that's something that I am very much so happy about, because I feel like we don't really get too many movies like this anymore. So more than welcoming up to this sort of movie, and that's why for me, The Blackening, I personally will be giving a And next up, we have No Hard Feelings, which is the latest comedy, but in particular, this is a raunchy comedy starring Jennifer Lawrence, and that was something that really was something that intrigued me. I mean, Jennifer Lawrence, I feel like is an actress that hasn't really got much work, unfortunately, the last couple of years, and she did this thing back in the day where it was like she would do an art house film and then she would do a big blockbuster, back and forth, back and forth. And then, post Mother in 2017, she just hasn't really done that. So for her to come out with a raunchy comedy, it was like, okay, let's see how she does. And I had a feeling that she was going to be great. And she was. She was very funny. This movie has a lot of laughs. It's very breezy. I mean, I think it's only like 103 minutes, but without credits, I believe it's like 97 minutes. But pacing flies by. The themes are intriguing. I definitely thought that, they could have been a bit deeper, but at the same time, with what they were going for, I liked it. And I also think that the chemistry between the two is quite good. And again, the acting is good. And I actually liked the cinematography, which is a surprise because most comedies I feel like just are like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Cinematography doesn't matter. But this movie actually looks good. And I also liked the camera work. I thought that it was effective. And overall, I was satisfied with this movie. And I could definitely see myself revisiting this movie. And again, if you're going to see this film for one reason, Jennifer Lawrence, she kills it in this film. She's so, so good in this film. And yeah, I'm hoping this movie becomes a box office success and finds the audience because, yeah, it's definitely worth your time, especially if you like raunchy comedies. That's why, for me, No Hard Feelings, I personally would be giving a. And last but not least, to round out the month, I saw Asteroid City, which is the latest Wes Anderson film. And for those of you that don't know and are new to the channel, I'm a huge Wes Anderson film fan. I think he is one of the best directors working today. And personally, one of my favorite directors. I mean, he is one of those directors that, in my eyes, has never made a bad film. So anytime I see his work come out, I immediately am like, you know what? I'm gonna watch this. I can't wait to watch it. And this was actually my top 10 most anticipated films of 2023. And I didn't even know what it was about. I just saw the cast and who directed it. And I don't think I even saw the trailer. Yeah, I don't think I did. But this is a film that I'll say this. I liked it. I thought it was good overall, but I feel like I need to rewatch this because I saw a late screening of this and don't ask me why, because again, I'm a huge fan of his work and, I know his style, but for some reason, I was not really expecting a play within a play within a play type scenario. So that kind of threw me off, but like in a good way. I mean, it's very well done, but I just wasn't really engaged in terms of the storytelling. I wasn't as engaged as I should have been, but at the same time, I was blown away by the filmmaking. I mean, the cinematography looks so, so good. Alexander Splat's score is perfect. The production design, the acting, every single performance, they do their job perfectly. I also thought the humor, the dialogue was all on point, but I just feel like this is one of those films that because of the storytelling method where they're implementing a lot of different aspect ratios to represent the timelines and at the same time, which part of the play and then which one is the broadcast. I don't want to spoil anything, but what I'm trying to say is it's a lot for a late night showing. So I'm going to give this film a benefit of the doubt and say that it will be one of those situations where a rewatch is necessary. Now, some people might be like, well, it sounds like you're letting him off easy. And that's not really the case. It's more of some of Wes Anderson's films, it's very easy to fall in love with right away. Like Fantastic Mr. Fox, Grand Budapest Hotel, Rushmore. Those are all films that at first viewing, I immediately was like, I love this film. It's great. But then there's other films like Moonrise Kingdom, or Darjeeling Limited, where it's like, I liked it kind of somewhat, but I didn't love it, but I just couldn't get it out of my head, and I rewatched it, and I loved it even more. I have a feeling it's going to be kind of like that, especially with what he's going for, and especially the third act. I feel like I need to give this film a second chance, and so that way I can, love it. But for now, it's good. It's good. It's not top tier Wes Anderson, and I will say this, if you don't like Wes Anderson's style, avoid this, because it's definitely for people that are more into Wes Anderson. It is very, very artsy. But yeah, if you're a Wes Anderson fan, highly recommend it. And that's why for me, personally, Asteroid City, I personally would be giving a But yeah, guys, that is my June 2023 movie catch-up video. Let me know which movies you guys saw from 2023 in this month. Let me know in the comment section down below. And yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'm very much so pumped for July. A lot of potentially good films coming out in that month. And I'm actually going to be seeing Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny in July, because I'll be busy the last week of June. So stay tuned for that, guys. But as always, thank you very much for watching with the subscription, notification bell, follow me down Letterboxd, and I will catch you guys later.